My name's Chris Palmer, and in today's video, I want to discuss how to get website traffic doing international SEO. So this question comes up from a subscriber. They asked me, they have a website that's outside of the US. They want to start getting traffic. And I have had some experience with past clients, and I'm just going to give the tips and the experiences that I could help you with. So let me just go through a couple of tips with you. And first and foremost, what I want to touch on is if you are targeting a market, if you're targeting a particular market for your business or service, when you're setting up your website and your website structure, it needs to be the first thing that you take care of. So if you are inside of India and you want to target the US, and the US being the harder market to get rankings in, you need to go after that market first. And how you go about this is setting up your TLD. So your TLD could be .com, .net, .org, but it needs to be a top-level domain that is within the United States. So the very first thing that I would take care of is your TLD. The very next thing, if you know that you're outside of the US but you want to target the US, is you need to make sure that your hosting is inside of the United States. So number 2 is going to be your hosting. Now, hosting plays a huge part. So hosting and IP need to be US based. So we're going to go with IP as your number 3. So your TLD, your hosting, and your IP. Now remember, I'm going to save the best tip for last, so stick with me here. Number 4 is going to be if you're outside of the US and you want to start getting traffic from the US, you need to make sure that the backlinks that you're acquiring are from trusted, topically relevant, and numerous backlinks from the United States. So number 4 is going to be backlinks. So we need to make sure that our backlinks are coming from US properties that are trusted and topically relevant. Number 5, and this is going to be very, very important, are your anchor texts. Now, your anchor texts need to be US derived. Now, let's touch on this really fast here. If you're targeting the main US country, all right, and you're outside of the United States, you want to target the US first. Why? Because it's a harder market. You want to gain your page authority, your domain authority from the US and get your rankings in the US, because then you can start making subdomains. So if you have your website, right, website.com, you would make your subdomain after you're ranking in the United States and target India, target the UK / your website, then target whatever the country may be. But initiate and establish your rankings in the United States, the harder market, first. And then you can have all of your domain and your page authority to carry over when you start targeting the foreign markets. This will help you immensely for your rankings in the foreign countries, because ranking in the foreign countries is a lot easier than the United States. So let's touch on this really fast. I'll run through. So your TLD, make sure it's US. 2, your hosting. 3, your IP address. Make sure it's all US based. 4, your backlinks. 5, your anchor texts need to be from the country that you're targeting. Now, if you're targeting the US first, you have all your backlinks, you're collecting everything for the United States, and now you've acquired rankings. When you move in and start trying to rank your subdomains, say in India or the UK, these subdomains are looked at as almost like separate entities, but they're carrying over all that page authority. So when you start sending links to these pages, make sure that those backlinks are from that country. Make sure those anchor texts are for that language. Make sure that the topical relevance for your topic are coming from those countries, but they're topically relevant. I hope all of this is making sense for you. Now, the very most important thing, I said, stay with me. Let's clear this off. The very last thing, especially when targeting the United States, you need to validate your entity. Validating your entity is very, very important. And here's what I mean by that. So this is going to be number 6, validate your entity. So how you validate your entity is simply this. You need to acquire press releases about your business for the country that you're going to that are very, very high quality. A press release will validate your entity. Social profiles, right? Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anything that is validating your entity, and then the creme de la creme of them all is going to be your Google My Business. Even if your business is located outside of the United States, whatever you need to do to get a Google My Business and verified within the States, you need to do that because nothing screams a real business better than a Google My Business. This will validate your entity. Once you have your Google My Business, it will be a lot easier to get your Yahoo, MapQuest, Yelp. It'll be easier to acquire all of those other trust signals when validating your entity. So, wrap up everything. You need to target the US markets first. Get your top level domain. You need to get your hosting in the United States, backlinks, anchor text, then start targeting the foreign countries because they're easier. Make sure you validate your entity, and that's going to wrap up today's video for international SEO, how to get more traffic using international SEO. My name's Chris Palmer. If you have questions about Facebook ads, social media, websites, anything digital marketing related, please feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next SEO, international SEO video. Have a wonderful day.